So morning guys, this is our little Honda Dax ST70. We're in the My50 garage, and this little guy has been giving us shifting problems. It keeps jumping into a false neutral, which means there's something happening here in the gearbox behind the clutch. So today we're going to take it off and just see if we can find out what the problem is. So yeah, this is how it gets done. Right, so there's a couple of things that we have to do before we get going. Obviously the first thing is drain the oil. You'll find the reservoir under here, or the drain. It's a little size 17 bolt normally. Comes out, drain the oil out. So because this is obviously where all the oil sits in the bike. I've also then taken off the foot peg mount. It's just 4 bolts that bolt onto the engine. That comes off easily because we're going to have to pull this whole casing off, and in order to create space, all of this stuff has to come off. So I've pre-done it obviously just to save us a bit of time. I've also taken the exhaust off just for interest's sake, because we had a custom exhaust jar. The normal exhaust comes up, but this one comes down, so I've had to take that one off. Kickstarter must come off. This is just a normal size 10, and obviously you'll have to do all the unloosening and what have you. I've pre-done this just to save us a bit of time. The next thing is the brake, the rear brake. It's quite a bit of a spring. It doesn't have to come off completely. You can just sort of put it aside. That'll give you space. And then there's also the engine bolts, which are around the side. Those all have to come out. So once again, I already loosened these guys. There you go. And then this is the clutch cable on this specific bike, so we're going to just take that to get it out of the way. Let's do this. And now you're ready to pull it off. This obviously has been off before, so it's going to be pretty easy for me. But if you do need to get it off and it's a little bit stuck, what you do is you take a soft head hammer. I don't know where mine is now, but a soft head hammer, and just knock it a little bit, and then it should loosen it up so that it can come off. You also just want to be careful about the gasket. There we go. There we go. Pretty easy. Normally this is an area where you can clean. This is where a lot of the dirt comes in from all the oil that's circulating, goes down to the bottom. I've done a bit of cleaning already, but yeah, you can go ahead and clean that. There are some little parts, so what I like to do is keep a plastic bag or something that you can put the small stuff in. This here is the clutch, and there's a little spring mounted little piece here. You don't want to be losing this piece. Very small. Goes in there to operate the clutch. So just be aware of that when you're pulling it off. Sometimes they spring out. So I'll put that in a bag to make sure that it's all good. To pull the clutch off now, we're going to have to get these 4 bolts off over here. They're pretty well torqued, so most of the time you'll need one of these tools. It's called an impact driver, and essentially what happens is you hit the driver and it gives a bit of pressure and turns, and that gets the bolt loose. So you put it on over here, hit it, and it'll turn. That releases the torque or the tension, or because it really has to be pretty tight. You can get these at any tool shop, your local tool shop. They should be able to help you out with that. So I've already loosened these ones up, so we're good to go. So I'll just finish it off here with take these 4 out. Once again, make sure you don't lose them, because they're little pieces but vital pieces to the whole project. Okay, so now behind here you'll see there's a gasket as well. You want to pull this off pretty carefully, because this bearing can also come out, and there's the gasket there. So that's what that piece looks like. There's a bearing over here. This bearing also comes out. There you go, you can see that better. Put that to one side, and then yeah, that's pretty much the clutch assembly. Now inside here, I might have to bring you guys a little bit closer. This is where we're going to take the clutch off. You'll notice that inside here there's like a little spline thing, spline washer, or if you want to call it that, and on one of them you'll just have to pull it down so that you can release it. It's pretty much there to hold it in place. So I'll quickly just do that with a screwdriver. Lift one of the flaps up, it is aligned. You line it up, and then you can turn the bolt out. Now at this stage you'll see that the clutch moves with the main gear there. So unloosening the bolt becomes a bit of a problem. So because they will turn together. Oh, something we need to mention here at this stage. This is a tool that you're going to need to take the clutch off. You can buy them many places online, not very, I think about like, I don't know, $20 or something. But money well spent, because it fits in over here. The teeth interlock, and then you'll be able to pull it, unscrew it. However, this moves when you try to get it off. So what I've done is I've just got an old piece of metal. It's a steel rod, so you can make your own tools. And pretty much all I've done here is drilled 2 holes equidistant to the holes over here on a piece of steel. You can get a scrap steel from one of your steel merchants or anything like that. Pop some screws in so that it can hold it. Once again, I've already loosened this, so when you do it, you want to make sure it holds pretty tight, because this will give you the leverage to crank over. Right, so we now, I've got one of these guys Also very, very handy, especially when the bolts are nice and tight, because the torque on this one's quite heavy. So it takes a bit of leverage to get it off. So you got to line up the teeth with the eyes, hold down the bar so that you got a bit of leverage, and there we go. So that's the little bolt that's come out of there. That's what's holding the clutch on. So I'll pop that in the bag so it doesn't get lost. We can then remove the tool. Our handmade, homemade little thing. I don't know what this was before. I found it for $1. Probably if you go to a nice scrap dealer, they'd probably give it to you. But I got it from a charity shop, so what the hell. Where can you buy tools for $1 anyway? Make your own. So now behind there are the two washers. There's this washer here. It's the flat washer, and you'll see, just check that one for wear. And then, this is the star, which you would have seen from inside. Now here's the, where is it? This is the guy that we bent that was holding the lock nut in place. So that's off. There you go. So now at this stage, the clutch should come off. Okay, just pull it off nice and easily. There you go. And the clutch is off. So at the back here is where all the clutch plates go. So if you need to replace your clutch plates, this is where they are. You can flick this out with a little screwdriver or pin it out. Remember the order that it goes in to put it back in the same order if you need to replace that. We don't need to replace the clutch at the moment. That's not our problem. Our problem is the shifting. So that's a little cog that just comes off. It simply slides on there. It drives the clutch and the main what do you call it? Main drive. So we'll put that one side. And then behind this main gear is where we'll see the shifters, where this bike's having a problem where you shift between gears. It sometimes gets stuck between gears, or it's not shifting properly, or you can't get it into gear. I'm having a lot of problems with that. The motor's running fine, but the gearing is giving me endless hassles. So we're going to take that off as well. So over here, I've already also taken this piece off. Is a little eye washer like this. It holds this in place. You're going to need a tool like this, a pair of pliers with a very thin tips. And what this does is it fits into the holes of the washer like that, those eyelets. I don't know if you can see that. And then you pull it apart so that it expands, and then you can get it off the spline. Also, bite a little part to make sure you've got it there so that this doesn't come off, because now that that's off over here, we took it off from over here, this comes off nice and easy. And there you go. So I don't know if you can still see here. I might just bring you a little bit closer. Where are we there? Can you guys see? Oh, there, yeah. So this is where all the shifting happens. I'll shift it and you can see how the shifter works. 1, 2, 3. There, you see, that's my problem. At the moment it's going up, you see. This is my problem. It's just not getting into gear. Going. It shouldn't do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Something is amiss here, because it should go 1, 2, 3 and then stop, and then 1, 2, 3 the other way, but for some reason it's not going. So we're going to have to take this off and split the motor to get to the problem. So when looking for a problem, I've looked at this for quite a while, and I find that using a light sometimes exposes quite a few things. So looking at it normally, it looks normal, but with the light exposure, I can see over here that there's some rubbing happening. There shouldn't be anything rubbing over here, which means for some reason this main gear is rubbing here, which is causing this not to shift properly. So it could be in the gearbox at the back, and my suspicion is it's going to be the gear forks in the back. There's like these two forks that change the gears, and my guess is that it's that, which is unfortunate for us, because we're going to have to potentially take the motor out. But anyway, for the purpose of this video, it was to show you guys how to get to this point where we take off the clutch, get to the main gear, because sometimes if your gears are faulty, it could be as simple as this little spring is broken. There's another spring over here, because these are supposed to spring. You need to check that the springs are working properly, that it's rolling around properly here. So these are all things you can check. If there's no issues here, you have to go into the back of the gearbox. So for us, that's what it looks like it's going to be, and we'll have to do that in the next video. So hopefully this has been a help for you guys to see how you can pull the clutch off and how you can get to the main shifter on the Honda Dax ST70. If you got any comments, please leave them. We'd love to hear from you. If you got any advice, because I'm certainly no pro, thanks to the guys on the YouTube videos that I've been watching of other guys, they've helped me a lot. So hence I thought I'd share this with you guys, and hopefully it'll help you diagnose and get into your clutch problems and shifting problems.